Welcome back to Pokemon episode summaries. Today, I'll be doing episode 154, Hot Matches. The episode begins with Ash and the gang leaving a Pokemon Center in a nearby town after just having healed their Pokemon, when Ash suddenly runs into a trainer who was just going into the Pokemon Center to heal up his Growlithe. They apologize to each other, and the trainer warns Ash of a very strong trainer by a mountain bridge in the woods, who has been challenging every trainer who passed by. The man then runs into the Pokemon Center, and Ash decides to ignore his warnings, wanting a challenge, so they head into the woods to find this rope mountain bridge. Hopefully Ash's Pokemon wouldn't get as beat to shit as the Growlithe was. Anyways, as Ash and the gang were walking through the forest, talking about which Pokemon this super strong trainer must have to be able to knock out the Growlithe like that, and also be able to defeat every other trainer who passed by them, Team Rocket was spying on Ash and the gang. And after overhearing Ash and the gang talk about this trainer, they came up with a plan to steal Ash's Pokemon after they were weakened from the trainer's battle, also planning to steal this trainer's Pokemon as well. Their cover behind some bushes was almost immediately blown though, as Wobbuffet then popped out of its Pokeball uncontrollably, leading Jessie to get angry and call it back. Soon enough, Ash and the gang reach the rope bridge that they were told about, and sure enough, they see a trainer standing by, being a girl, who Brock instantly thought was beautiful, so he went to go flirt with her as you would expect. Brock didn't expect this girl to be the trainer, as he thought that she was too beautiful or some shit, so he was immensely surprised when the trainer revealed her name was Miki and pulled out a Pokeball, revealing that she wanted to battle Brock. Brock was immensely surprised by this, finally realizing that Miki was the trainer that they'd been looking for. With Brock still too shocked to send out a Pokemon, Miki makes the first move by sending out hers, being her Skarmory, which Ash identifies with his Pokedex, which also tells him it was a steel type with razor-sharp wings, adding that the steel type was a newly discovered type. As Miki waits for Brock to send out his Pokemon, she then further asks him to send out a fire Pokemon in specific, explaining that since Skarmory was a steel type, it was weak to fire types, and she wanted to have practice against Skarmory's weaknesses so that they could learn how to counter them. Brock eventually obliges, sending out his Vulpix, as that was his only fire-type Pokemon that he could use. As the battle began, Team Rocket was still spying through some bushes, and once they saw the Skarmory, they officially decided that they were going to steal it, as, due to Skarmory being a steel type, Team Rocket determined that it must have been really rare. Meanwhile, the battle had since begun, with Skarmory making the first move by flying up to stir up a cloud of dust that blinded Vulpix. However, before the Skarmory could come crashing down into Vulpix, Vulpix successfully got off a flamethrower, but Skarmory was able to dodge it by speeding away with agility. With Skarmory moving around so fast, to the point where Brock could barely even tell where it was, this led him to order his Vulpix to use agility as well, to escape Skarmory. However, Skarmory's agility proved to be faster, as it revealed itself and used its most powerful attack, Steel Wing, to knock Vulpix out. Not satisfied with that easy battle, Miki questions Brock if he had any more Fire-type Pokemon, but Brock simply stated that he was defeated, as he didn't have any other Fire Pokemon to use. Miki got disappointed by this, but then Ash stepped in, and stated that he had a Fire Pokemon, being Cyndaquil, and he wanted to battle her as well. He then proceeds to taunt Miki, stating that Cyndaquil might be too hot for her Skarmory to handle, leading Miki to just laugh, as she was confident in her own right. As the battle then began, Ash immediately regretted his taunt, as Cyndaquil was already yawning, signifying that it was super bored, and since it was bored and not fired up, literally, it couldn't use its flamethrower attack. This means that Cyndaquil is forced to do nothing but dodge, as Skarmory approaches with a Fury attack. Miki's impressed with Cyndaquil's dodging, however Ash just wanted that fucking flamethrower to work. So he tried to order a flamethrower, although Cyndaquil obviously couldn't yet, so this gave Miki the ability to get her Skarmory to use Swift, which attacks Cyndaquil head-on. Upon seeing Cyndaquil get hit, Ash decides to give up on the flamethrower strategy for now, and have Cyndaquil use agility, like he should have just done from the beginning, and this allows Cyndaquil to dodge most of the incoming Fury attacks, aside from one of them, though thankfully, this one hit pisses Cyndaquil off enough to get its flamethrower going. Unfortunately, even though Cyndaquil was able to get off a flamethrower, Skarmory was able to dodge and use another Swift attack, which once again hit Cyndaquil dead on since it wasn't focused on dodging anymore, and this injured Cyndaquil immensely. Skarmory takes the opportunity to go in for a Steel Wing, and Ash tries to counter with Flamethrower, but the Flamethrower misses yet again as Skarmory flies away to dodge it, and the Steel Wing is about to make contact. However, at the last second, two Metal Claws come down and catch both Skarmory and Cyndaquil. These Metal Claws came down from none other than the Meowth balloon being operated by Team Rocket, who proceeded to reveal themselves and do their motto, with Wobbuffet interrupting the motto. Team Rocket then brag about successfully capturing Pokemon without having to battle for them this time, and proceed to escape in their Meowth balloon. Ash and the gang and Miki chased after it, and Miki noticed that Skarmory was trying its best to break out of the captivity, but it didn't know what to do. So Miki took action and ordered Skarmory to use Swift, which cuts the handle of the claw that was holding it. However, this merely just detaches the claw from the Meowth balloon, and Skarmory's wings are still trapped in the claw, so it can't fly to safety. This causes it to begin falling to the ground, leading Brock to rush to catch it in an attempt to impress Miki, and although he doesn't catch it, it does land on him, almost crushing him due to its immense weight. But at least the Skarmory was safe. Cyndaquil was still captured though, so Ash continued to pursue the Meowth balloon as it flew away, alongside Pikachu. Unfortunately, Ash and Pikachu began to get tired from all the running, so they were quickly losing the Meowth balloon. Thankfully though, the freed Skarmory then swooped in and attacked the balloon with a Steel Wing, sending Team Rocket blasting off and dropping the cage in the process. Thankfully, before the cage could hit the ground, Ash was able to catch it, saving Cyndaquil, who he then let out of the cage. Brock, Misty, and Miki then caught up with Ash and Cyndaquil, and Miki congratulated Skarmory on a job well done. Skarmory really was the MVP here, damn. As thanks for Brock and Ash accepting her challenge, Miki decides to invite all of the gang over to her house for some dinner, although Brock states that he would be the one to cook, wanting to impress Miki obviously. Soon enough, Brock's done cooking, and all of the Pokemon begin to eat some Pokemon food as Ash and the gang enjoy Brock's. Miki complimented Brock on his cooking. That's right, a girl actually complimented him for once, and Brock took the opportunity to try and flirt with her some more by saying that he would cook for her anytime if she traveled with Ash and the gang, indicating that he wanted her to join. This leads Misty to pull Brock away, being aware of Brock's flirting comment. He obviously just didn't want to cook for her out of the kindness of his heart. No, he wanted some pussy. With Brock gone, Ash took the opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation with Miki, asking her about what her and her Skarmory did to get so strong, and Miki revealed that their training regimen involved them doing all the same things together, such as cutting wood together, boxing together, flying together, sleeping together. She essentially explained that she made her Skarmory so strong by essentially motivating it to continue its intense training by her doing the same training. So they basically just motivated each other to keep getting better, and that's why they were so good. Hearing this gives Ash an idea to make his and Cyndaquil's bond stronger by doing the same things as well. So Ash gets up bright and early the next morning, skipping breakfast, and sends out his Cyndaquil, and they proceed to run up the road through the fog together until they reach a hill and eventually trudge their way up that as well. Once they stop, Ash and Cyndaquil were both still eager to train and get stronger, so Ash suggested that they start working on its flamethrower. More specifically, getting it to light faster so that Cyndaquil didn't have to wait for it to get super distressed in order to use it. Cyndaquil wanted this to work as well, so it didn't have to dodge at the very beginning of each battle, so it became determined to try. Unfortunately, it doesn't work though, as all that comes out is a little bit of smoke as Cyndaquil tries to force the flames out, but he just can't. So, Ash decides that they should focus on Cyndaquil's other attacks as well. If he wasn't going to be able to use his fire, then they should make his other moves more beneficial to it. So, first, he has Cyndaquil practice its tackle by letting Cyndaquil hit him at full force, and then he has Cyndaquil practice his agility, speeding around some nearby rocks. Meanwhile, back at Miki's house, all of the Pokemon were eating some Pokemon food for breakfast, as Misty, Miki, and Brock were eating some breakfast as well, having noticed that Ash was nowhere to be found, and Brock remarked how unusual this was, as Ash was always obsessed with food, particularly breakfast. After realizing that he must have gone on a training journey with Cyndaquil, after what Miki had told him about what she told him last night, Brock realizes that Ash must really be serious about improving Cyndaquil's flame. Unbeknownst to Brock, though, Ash and Cyndaquil still weren't reattempting the flamethrower. They were still doing tackle, and Cyndaquil's tackle had now improved so vastly that it was able to knock Ash into a nearby apple tree with just one hit. Ash celebrates and decides to give Cyndaquil a little break as a reward. But really, the true reason why he wanted a break was because being bumped into an apple tree reminded him that he didn't have breakfast, and he was fucking hungry. So he went into the apple tree to pick some apples, but in the process, he startled a horde of Beedrill that were in the tree. This leads Ash and Cyndaquil to begin running away at full speed as the Beedrill continued to pursue them, and because Ash was going so fast, he accidentally tripped over a rock and was about to get absolutely mauled by the Beedrill. But then Cyndaquil stayed back and jumped between Ash and the Beedrill and used his flamethrower without having to charge it up whatsoever. It just suddenly was able to work, and it managed to scare off all the Beedrill, leading Ash to lift up Cyndaquil in happiness. He had done it. He'd been able to do flamethrower without having to get stressed out first. Now he could just do flamethrower whenever he wanted. So, in order to practice the flamethrower, Ash then threw a whole bunch of sticks in the air that acted as targets for Cyndaquil to shoot down. Meanwhile, Miki was brushing her Skarmory's wings, with Brock and Misty watching, when suddenly Ash returned and demanded a rematch with Miki, which Miki gratefully accepted, wanting more practice against fire Pokemon. Brock then agreed to be the referee for the match as it began, and everyone was shocked to see Cyndaquil's flame instantly lit up, with Ash explaining that that was the whole reason why he went training. The battle then officially began, with Skarmory making the first move by flying up and stirring up a cloud of dust in the process to blind Cyndaquil, just like it had tried originally, with Brock's Vulpix. As the dust cleared, Ash suggested that Cyndaquil try and blind Skarmory, so Cyndaquil used its smoke screen. With Skarmory partially blinded, Cyndaquil then went in for a fully powered flamethrower, but Skarmory was still able to dodge due to being able to see a little bit still. Skarmory then goes in for a Steel Wing, expecting it to finish off Cyndaquil like last time, but Cyndaquil was able to use its strength and agility to avoid the attack. Both Ash and Miki were getting kind of sick of their Pokemon just simply dodging all the attacks and nothing really happening, so they decided to each use their strongest attack. As Cyndaquil used yet another flamethrower, Skarmory used Steel Wing, and the Steel Wing was able to break through the fire, and therefore hit Cyndaquil at full speed, flying past him in the process and severely injuring Cyndaquil. Skarmory then began to fly back towards Cyndaquil, seeing that its Steel Wing had knocked it down and it was struggling to get up, and hit Cyndaquil dead on yet again. Despite this, Cyndaquil managed to get back up using all of its strength, which really surprised Miki as she revealed that no other challenger had ever managed to survive 2 Steel Wings. Despite Cyndaquil's reluctance to go down, Ash clarified if it was good to go, seeing how much damage it had taken, and Cyndaquil simply responded by lighting its fire on its back even brighter. It was going to unleash the strongest flamethrower it had ever done. Knowing this, Miki proceeded to tell Skarmory to use Fury Attack, leading Cyndaquil to not go for the flamethrower quite yet, but dodge a bit more, so it could get it even more powerful. Seeing that Cyndaquil had pivoted back to dodging, Miki went back to using Steel Wing. However, right before the Steel Wing made contact, Cyndaquil managed to jump up and dodge it, causing Skarmory to crash into a nearby rock due to how fast it was going. Seeing that the Skarmory was now fully distracted, Cyndaquil decided that now was the time to use its maximum powered flamethrower, and it did so. Skarmory was so injured by this that all it took was one of Cyndaquil's strengthened tackles to finish the battle, knocking Skarmory out, meaning Ash had won, officially declared by Brock as the referee. Miki, in disbelief that she actually watched, recalled her Skarmory into its Pokeball as Ash picked up Cyndaquil, ecstatic that their immense training had actually paid off, and congratulated Cyndaquil on successfully being able to have a permanently lit flame. Miki then comes up to Ash and thanks him for all the training that he had provided her, and states that now she felt that she was finally prepared to go around Johto and challenge all the gym leaders in preparation for the Johto League. Upon learning that she was going to the Johto League as well, Ash hoped to battle her again, this time in front of an entire crowd of people in the Johto League Silver Conference. The episode then ends with Ash and the gang saying goodbye to Miki and one last scene from Team Rocket, who had blasted off into a tree and were still trapped to the basket of their balloon. Wobbuffet then came out of its Pokeball under no one's command and proceeded to sit on a tree branch doing absolutely nothing when Jessie asked it to help them down from the tree. Sucks to be you, Team Rocket.